Hey friends, I'm Linda Moon, Director of Grow Kids Curriculum. Welcome to the series walkthrough for Unsung Heroes, a 4-week series all about Ruth. Yay! We recommend the series for the month of November because the Bible stories of how Ruth and Naomi made the most of their situation align with our winter discipleship strategy of helping kids use their gifts. However, our scope and sequence takes kids through every major Bible story in 3 years, so feel free to teach the series whenever you like. But for now, let's take a closer look at what Unsung Heroes is all about. In week 1, we'll take a look at Ruth chapter 1, the tragic story of how Ruth and Naomi lost their whole family, but when Naomi decided to return to Bethlehem, her daughter-in-law Ruth chose to follow and kept her company. That's why this week's big idea is God gives us companions. In week 2, we'll explore the story of Boaz and Ruth's meet cute in Ruth chapter 2 and how it wasn't sheer happenstance that Ruth ended up in Boaz's field. It was an example of how God gives us opportunities. Then in week 3, we'll take a look at the story in Ruth chapter 3 of how, at Naomi's behest, Ruth asked Boaz to fulfill his duties as her guardian redeemer. And what she did to ask him was countercultural and risky, but necessary to help them survive, which is why this week's big idea is God gives us boldness. And finally, in week 4, we get the happy ending Naomi, Ruth, and Boaz deserve. Though Naomi started out wanting to be known as Mara or bitter, she's given renewed joy through her grandson, who would be a predecessor to Bible greats like King David and who else? Oh, that's right, Jesus himself. Ruth chapter 4 shows us that this week's big idea is true. God gives us hope. And this month's memory verse from Zephaniah 3:17 tells us that it was the heroic hand of God who made it all happen. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. Now let's talk about the theme. At Grow Kids, we love pairing an engaging theme with each teaching series and creating an environment around it to really bring the Bible stories to life. So the theme for this series is superheroes because we're talking about how God is our hero and helps us be heroic too. So to decorate your space, you want to go for a comic book feel with a cityscape and call outs that say pow and zap and other things like that. And there are so many fun backdrops out there that you can purchase or that you can easily make and modify your own. And you can add some more dimension by using cardboard cutouts and mylar balloons because they last longer, and also town newspapers. That seems to be a staple in comic book stories. But environments are about more than just decorating the space. How about them snacks? You could serve themed snacks. I mean, you could search superhero snacks on the web, and there are just so many great things just on Pinterest alone. Or you could just serve them regular snacks in themed containers, and that would already just level it up. And also, you could procure fun giveaways to give to kids as prizes throughout the month, or, just to give it to them because they showed up and you want to let them know that you love them. And don't forget that this environment guide is included in your resources folder. And this whole guide is truly a treasure chest filled with many goodies. Like, check out the section where we've added some songs that we think pair really well with the teaching. And also, while we're at it, make sure you check out growmusic.org for some incredible original music. We also include tips on how to use our graphics and the fonts that we've used and the color schemes. There's just so much cool stuff here. So make sure you check that out, and so that it can help you really theme up that space. So now you have an overview of the series as well as a look into how to theme up your ministry space. Now let's talk about some of the exciting features of Unsung Heroes. Now, if you've been using Grow for a while, you know that our teaching is always broken up into 3 sections for each week's lesson. We have the what section that hooks kids with activities and questions that set up the Bible story and big idea. We have Here we go. The So What section that teaches the Bible passage and reinforces the big idea and includes other activities that help them remember the Bible story as well. And we also have the Now What section, which is where kids get to dive deeper into what it all means and what next steps they can take in their relationship with God and with others. But within this consistent structure that stays the same every single time, each series uses a different combination of building blocks like activities, object lessons, videos, reflections, and others in each major section to help teach the material in fun and new ways. And on top of that, each series does something a little different with these building blocks. So here are a few that are unique to Unsung Heroes. The first one I want to talk about are the activities. We think meeting together and learning about the Bible should be an overall fun experience, right? I'm sure you agree with me on that. So we provide a ton of different activities that you could use to help kids just learn from the Bible stories and to connect that teaching to a memorable game, craft, or experience. And in Unsung Heroes, every week begins with a segment called Hero Training, which is basically a game that relates to the Bible story. So for example, in week 1, we have Hero Training, Companions, where a hero and a sidekick will pair up to guide each other along a path, first by being blindfolded and then switching to a 3-legged race. That's right. It's super intense, but after all, it is hero training. Am I right? And this activity just sets up the premise that even superheroes need companions, just like the unsung heroes, Ruth and Naomi, in today's teaching. And so every week you will have an activity like that that is connected to the theme, but it's also more importantly connected to the Bible story. The next thing I want to talk about is the big idea reveal. The big idea is a short, simple sentence that encapsulates the truth we're trying to communicate to kids and help them remember from each week's Bible story. That's why we like to make a big deal out of revealing the big ideas in every series. So in Unsung Heroes, we've provided these really cool looking call outs for you. And you can't really see it that well, but if you had really cool red decoder glasses, which is what we're recommending, the words in the cyan behind the bright red would pop out, which reveals a big idea. And so each call out contains one word of the big idea. So in week 1, it would be God gives us companions. Isn't that really neat? And also the fun part about this is that you could probably use these as part of your decorations. Just add to whatever cityscape you created and just keep building out the comic book look from week to week. But did you know that your preschoolers learn the same big idea as well? That's right. Your Grow Kids subscription includes a curriculum for elementary and a whole separate curriculum for preschoolers that covers the same Bible stories, big ideas, and memory verses. And sometimes we might feel like, whoa, isn't this too hard for the littles? But we don't need to underestimate them. They are capable of a lot more than we give them credit for. And it would be really fun for them to learn what the big kids are learning. And so every month, they get to learn all the same big ideas, and they also have age-appropriate hand motions to go along with them to help them remember it better. But of course, you are welcome to shorten them if you'd like. Really, you can customize this however you like. We're just saying that there is a consistency between Grow Kids Elementary and Grow Kids Preschool, and some of you might really need that, especially for those of you with smaller ministries and less volunteers. So we're looking out for you. So this month in Unsung Heroes Preschool, the kids are going to learn the big idea by doing their best superhero punch through tissue paper covered cups, and they're going to retrieve pieces of paper. And once they've punched through all the holes and collected all the paper, the leader is going to put them in order and help them memorize the big idea by reciting it together and, of course, learning those hand motions that we have suggested in the series. And that was a super quick look at Unsung Heroes. I hope you all have a blast teaching this one. And in terms of collecting supplies and costumes, you should do what I plan to do, which is to go shopping the day after Halloween and grabbing as many superhero capes and costumes as you can get and making your volunteers, having your volunteers, I mean asking your volunteers to dress up in some cool costumes to really add to the theme. And if you do, please share those photos with us because we love seeing what you do out there because you are all so creative and we love seeing how you modify this content to make it work for your context. So go ahead and tag us in your posts and photos on Instagram at Stuff You Can Use and find us on Facebook in our Facebook group. You can search for Stuff You Can Use, a children's ministry community. And yeah, we would love to connect with you because we love hearing from you. So until next time, friends, have a good one. Bye.